So in this video, we will be looking at the 2012 H2 Math Paper 2, question 4, which is on APGP. Okay, so on 1st of January 2001, Mrs. A put $100 into the bank. And on each day of each subsequent month, on the first day of each subsequent month, she put in $10 more than in the previous month. Okay, so for example, on the 1st of Feb, she will put $110 into the account, so on and so forth. So on what date did the value of her account first become more than $5,000? So part 1, on 1st of January 2001 is $100, and in each subsequent month, this amount increases by $10. Okay, so we know this is an AP and A is 100. The common difference between terms is 10 because it increases by 10 every month. So Sn equals to n over 2 2a plus n minus 1d. You want this to be more than 5,000. So simplify n over 2, 200 plus 10n minus 10, more than 5,000. So you have n over 2, 190 plus 10n, more than 5,000. Okay. So rearranging the 2, you can bring it over to the right hand side. So you have 10n plus 190n more than 10,000. Okay, so I brought the 2 over to the right hand side, and then I bring the 2 inside, I bring the n inside the bracket. So I have this. Simplify n squared plus 19n minus 1,000 more than 0. So if you use the GC to find the roots of this curve n squared plus 19n minus 1,000, you will have negative 42.5 as one of the root, and the larger root is 23.5. So your range of n is actually n lesser than negative 42.5 or n more than 23.5. So this is the region we are looking at. The part of the graph which is more than 0, so which is above the axis. Okay, then take note, we are rejecting the first part of the solution because we know n is the number of months, it cannot be negative. Okay, so n is more than 23.5. The least n, the smallest n, therefore is 24. 24 months later, so Mrs. A account first exceeds $5,000. 24 months later, which is 1st January 2003. Let's look at part 2. So on 1st January 2001, Mr. B put $100 into the saving account, just like Mrs. A. But on the first day of each subsequent month, he put another $100 in. The interest rate was $0.5, 0.5%, okay, per month. So that on the last day of each month, the amount in the account on that day was increased by 0.5%. So using GP, find an expression for the value of Mr. B's account on the last day of nth month. Okay. So for such question, a lot of students struggle with such question. So my personal advice is always have a table down to keep track of how much the person have at the start of the month, as well as how much they have at the end of the month. So for January 2001, he has $100 at the start, and this $100 earns a 0.5% interest. So this is how much Mr. B has at the end of the first month. Do not, okay, let me repeat, do not use calculator to work out this amount because you are supposed to observe a pattern. If you lump every dollars together, you will not be able to see that particular pattern. Okay, so in the second month, he has what he has at the end of January plus another $100. So at the end of February, this amount gains interest again. So 1.005 squared plus 1.005 times 100. So if you still need to write another row to see, it's okay. Normally, after you have written 3 rows, you should be able to see the pattern. So for the third month, we have how much we have at the end of February. Let me write it this way. This is how much we have at the end of February, and then we save another $100. At the end of March, this amount will earn 0.5% interest. So 1.005 squared times 100 becomes 1.005 cubed times 100 plus 1.005 squared times 100 plus 1.005 times 100. Okay, so each amount earns a 5%, 0.5% interest. Okay, so you should, okay, instead of continue to write down all the April, May, June, July, we have sufficient information to observe the pattern already. So can you see that for the first month, we have 1.005 times 100. In the second month, we have 1.005 times 100 plus 1.005 squared. Can you see the square? For the third month, we have 1.005 plus 1.005 squared plus 1.005 cubed. So if you use this to generalize the pattern, at the end of nth month, we will actually have 1.005 n times 100 plus dot 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 plus 1.005 times 100. Okay, so Sn is actually 1.005 n times 100 plus 1.005 n minus 1 times 100 plus dot 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 1.005 times 100. This is a sum of GP because if you realize from term to term, they differ by a common ratio, 1.005. So what I will do is, I will simplify by factorizing out 100, and then I will rearrange in ascending order. It's easier for you to see. So I will write this as my first term, and I will write this as my last term. So 1.005 plus 1.005 squared plus dot 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 plus 1.005 n. So this is the sum of GP whose first term is 1.005. This is a Rn minus 1 over R minus 1. Okay, if you simplify, it will give you this. So for those of you who are wondering how did I get my 20,000 out, you can group the numbers together. So we want to find out, okay, in which month did the value first exceed 5,000? So this is Sn. We want it to exceed 5,000. So what you can do is you can bring the 20,100 over. you will have 1.2488. 0.2488, and then you bring the 1 over 1.2488. So those of you who want to use GC, you can use GC. If you do not want to, you can take log both sides. So when you take log on both sides, you can bring down the power. So n is more than 44.541 to 5SF. So the least n will be 45. All right. So Mrs. B or Mr. B's account exceeds $5,000 on the 45th month. So if you guys want to write down the exact date, that will be September 2004. Okay. So you can pause the video to take down the working. I'm gonna erase them and move on to the last part. Okay, part 3, Mr. B wanted the value of his account to be $5,000 on 2nd of December 2003. So what interest rate per month would achieve this? Now, one very, very important thing you need to note is December, okay, he's looking at how much he has on 2nd of December, okay, not end of December. So for December itself, December 2003, there was no interest applied. All right. So if that is the case, write this down. This is important. There are 35 months from 1st of Jan 2001 to 1st of November 2003 that have interest. Okay, December 2003 has no interest because interest is being applied at the end of the month, not on 2nd of December. Okay, so December has no interest. So from part 2, we know that Sn equals to 100, 1.005 plus dot 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 plus 1.005 power n. But this time round, because the interest that we are looking at is no longer 0.5%, so there is a change. All right. So I will write my new Sn as such. Because I do not know the new amount of interest, so I will let it be x. So if I put this together as sum of GP, I will have x n minus 1. So the n, you can put it as 35 because it's 35 months of interest over x minus 1. This is the amount we have up till the 35th month. Okay, up till November 2003. So when I form the inequality, this part is very important. This is up to November 2003. Okay, so in this at the start of December 2003, I will have the same amount plus another 100 which I put in at the start of December. But this $100 has not earned any interest yet. So I put it outside. I want it to be 5,000. I want the total amount to be 5,000. So you can use the GC to solve, but before that, we can simplify. So divide by 100 on both sides. Some of you might want to ask whether is it necessary for us to simplify. My answer is no. But the more you simplify, the lesser you press into the GC. If you do not like to simplify, you can, okay, press the first equation into the GC as well. Okay, so you can draw this as your graph one, and then you go and find the x-intercept. Using GC, you should be able to get x equals to 1.0180 to 5%. This means that the interest per month to achieve the target is 1.8% instead of 0.5%. Okay, which makes sense because you want to save up, you want to achieve $5,000 faster. So the interest that you need to achieve the target will have to be higher than 0.5%. So you can use this as a quick check for your answer. Okay, so this is how we do question 4, APGP question. In the next video, we'll be looking at question 5. And question 5 is a stats topic on probability. All right, so I see you guys in the next video.